That's censorship. That
the tragic death of Charlie Kirk as an excuse to supercharge a political witch hunt against critics is abhorrent, obnoxious, and as un-American as it gets. What happened to Charlie Kirk is of course abhorrent, and even more chilling is that we know all too well it wasn't an isolated incident. But it's repulsive that the Trump administration is perversely using this awful death as a predicate to supercharge their long-standing campaign against political opponents. How low can they go? Every day you wonder, and they go even lower, and this is unfortunately a very, very glaring example of just that. It's not a new campaign. They've been engaged in an ever-escalating campaign to use the mighty power of the federal government to attack civil society. Whether it's Jimmy Kimmel, civil society organizations, or the Trump administration's perceived political enemies, its crusade is unending. And this is one of the saddest parts of all, because of congressional Republicans' obeisance to Trump, it's unchecked, because they are scared to stand up to Trump. Where are they? Where are our Republican colleagues in denouncing this stuff? We don't hear from them. But Democrats will not stand by. We will fight these abuses in the courts, in the court of public opinion, in Congress. So that's why I'm proud to stand with all of my colleagues here today to announce the No Political Enemies Act, legislation to stop the government from being used as a political weapon. The principle is simple. No president, Democrat, Republican, has the right to turn the federal government into an instrument of political revenge. That is what they're doing. That's what autocrats do. It's the kind of thing that Xi would do, that Putin would do. And Trump is doing it. It's disgraceful. So, it's not to understand. NOPE Act says the government must not engage in political motivated targeting and retaliation. The threats of political investigations and retaliation from the administration against their perceived political enemies strike at the heart, the beating heart of what this country is all about and has been since the days the farmers on Bunker Hill put down their plows and took up muskets for things like freedom of speech. So, Democrats won't stand for it. We'll fight back. We will defend the freedoms that make America a democracy, not an autocracy. And I thank my colleagues for joining us.
Thank you, Senator Schumer. Senator Van Hollen?
The structure motorized pergola system is reinventing the way homeowners experience the outdoors. The most
of the American right to speak, to protest, to dissent.
The structure motorized pergola system is reinventing the way homeowners experience the outdoors. The most versatile, modern, useful outdoor patio space ever designed. It creates the perfect blend of sun, shade, and shelter at all times.
I went to war 3 times for this country. I swore many oaths to protect the Constitution, to protect this nation when I did so. And when I did that, I did it knowing that I would be called upon potentially to give my life in defense for people to say things that maybe I disagreed with. Because that is who we are. That is what generation and generation of American before us has done, has sacrificed and sometimes given their lives. So we can disagree, we can debate, we can find that path to a more perfect union. And right now we are facing an unprecedented assault against that very value. What is more American than the ability to stand up and question authority? the ability to stand up and debate and to speak. The reason why that's so fundamental is that none of us have a monopoly on getting it right all the time. I don't. Democrats don't. Republicans don't. Nobody gets it right all of the time. The beauty in our system is that we can have that push and pull. People can speak up and be protected in doing that. But what we see out of Donald Trump and his lieutenants, like Stephen Miller and Laura Loomer, is an unprecedented assault on that very right. Fear and intimidation. An effort by them to say who can speak up and who cannot. An effort by them to say, and only them, who's a terrorist and who's not. Who has the right to speak and who doesn't. Power is always cyclical in America. And the reason why we protect it for everybody is that the minority and those not in power, now it's us, but sometime in the future it'll be somebody else, have that right to question us, to push back. And if we lose it, we all lose it. So every American, Democrat, Republican, and Independent, must stand up in this moment to say no. We will fiercely defend and carry forward the torch of Americans who have fought and defended it in the past, and we will not allow us to lose it on our watch. This legislation is simple. It says that if you are a civil servant, if you are doing the work of this nation, to protect our food, to make sure plans land safely, to defend our country in uniform, that you also have the right to speak up and question authority. Because we will all be better off if we can say that. So we ask, we implore conservatives, independents, progressives, everybody to join this effort, because now is the time.
Thank you. Senator Smith.
Well, good morning. Good afternoon, I should say. Thank you, Senator Murphy, and all of my colleagues here. So I would like to read you a quote about the importance of free speech, the most fundamental of our values and rights as Americans. The quote is, "We don't have to agree with everything or anything that people say, but when political leaders represent an important constituency, it is incumbent upon us to at least participate in dialogue with them. We may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square. Agree or disagree." Now, this quote isn't about being a Republican or a Democrat, though a Republican said these words. Vice President J.D. Vance said these words less than a year ago. But any of us could have made them, could have said the same thing, because they express that most American of values, that in this country, we can say whatever we think, whatever we believe, and we don't have to worry about the high and mighty leader that we may offend. Our rights as Americans is to annoy and even offend whomever we like. Our speech, our words, our principles are protected. So as long as you're not making an actual threat, as long as you're not inciting violence or yelling fire in a crowded building, we can say whatever the hell we want about presidents and kings and about the rich and powerful. But we are losing that, and everyone can feel it. Just this morning, I was on the radio with a talk radio station in the upper Midwest, up in Fargo-Moorhead. This isn't some left-wing program. It's in Fargo-Moorhead. And as I was waiting to get on, I had a chat with the producer, and the producer said, "Senator, I didn't think that this could happen, but we are afraid that they're going to come after us, that we're going to get taken off the air." And that is not paranoia. When you see that the FCC, just as one example, how they are bringing the full force of the federal government down to silence the president's critics, that is not paranoia. Who wouldn't be afraid? We have been in a fever dream these last months, an escalating rampage of one side of our deep political divide trying maximum pressure on the other side, even at the cost of free speech. This is the balance of power that defines our Constitution. This is happening even at the cost of our more perfect union. And what we are doing today is we are saying, stop it, enough. We're at this moment in this great democracy, this great imperfect democracy, where we actually need to spell out clearly that there will be costs when the federal government tries to go after people and organizations in our civil society and take away their rights to participate and to speak out. We are saying enough. That must be what we protect in this government, in this country. Today, my Democratic colleagues and I are saying we respect your right to say what you believe, and we're going to protect your right to do and say what you believe. That is what this legislation is all about, because that is what free speech means in this country.
Thank you. Senator Padilla.
Thank you, Senator Murphy, and all my colleagues for leaning in at this additional critical moment. This is the United States of America, where since the beginning we have protected free speech. That's why we're here today, because we have a president and an administration that has been weaponizing the government against their critics, plain and simple. An attorney general who is vowing to prosecute Americans for what she alone deems hate speech, a president who threatens a reporter with prosecution for asking a question about that, and Donald Trump personally suing the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal for publishing stories that he doesn't like. And just last night, ABC announcing they're pulling down Jimmy Kimmel's show following the pressure from the chairman of the FCC.
There's one simple warm water trick that anyone can use to improve eyesight almost overnight. Thousands of people are already doing this every night as they sleep by adding one unusual ingredient to a glass of warm water before bed. If you're long or short-sighted, struggling with floaters, or living with cataracts, macular degeneration, or glaucoma, then pay close attention. Because a recent study out of a top British university suggests that vision problems actually have very little to do with our eyes at all. They found that the real root cause appears to be a buildup of microscopic clogs, blocking the blood vessels which lead into the eyes, over time starving them of oxygen and essential nutrients, resulting in poor eyesight, annoying floaters, and all the other vision problems which affect so many people. But most importantly, these same researchers revealed a simple 10-second water trick you can begin to use tonight, which they claim quickly unclogs and clears out these vessels, restoring proper blood flow to the eyes once and for all. It's been an exciting breakthrough, with thousands of men and women now reporting suddenly being able to ditch their glasses, eliminate floaters, and enjoy crystal clear 20/20 vision after struggling for years. Just tap Watch Now below to skip straight to a free special video and see this 10-second daily ritual that can start taking effect within the first few days. Remember, this has nothing to do with expensive medications, special glasses, or risky surgeries. This is something you can easily do from home. Randall, a 58-year-old from New York, says he found this method just in time, as they were about to take away his driver's license because his night vision was so poor. And Tina, a 54-year-old grandma from Delaware, said her own optometrist started using this method himself after seeing how fast she'd improved. This is your chance to join thousands of people who'd almost given up hope, but are now suddenly able to clearly see the world around them again, reading their favorite books, enjoying their favorite views, and taking in the faces of their loved ones. But without addressing this root cause, you might never be free from the nagging worries of future health problems, the straining and squinting to get things in focus, and the fogged up glasses everywhere you go. So tap the blue Watch Now button below to...
Now, what happened to Jimmy Kimmel last night, and Stephen Colbert for that matter, isn't just about one comedian or one television personality or any one network. It's about whether we as Americans still have the freedom to laugh at those in power, to question authority, and to tell the truth without fear of retribution. Now, history shows us that when leaders start silencing entertainers and journalists and critics, it's not because they're strong, it's because they're weak. So we have to ask, what is this administration afraid of? They're afraid of accountability, plain and simple. They're afraid of being questioned and their record being held up to the light. Because when the record is exposed on health care, on the economy, on corruption, they know the American people won't stand for it. And so make no mistake, they are looking for excuses to crack down on dissent. I'm proud to represent California, and California knows these efforts far too well. We've seen Trump respond to overwhelmingly peaceful protests in Southern California to federalize and send in National Guard troops and then deploy the Marines into an American city. We see it today as Donald Trump is trying to extort UCLA and other universities for not falling in line with his agenda. And I experienced it personally when I had the audacity to ask a question at a press conference with the Secretary of Homeland Security and was thrown to the ground and handcuffed. So today, it's no surprise that the Trump administration is using the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk last week to justify its latest crackdown. And we have all denounced that assassination. We have all denounced political violence in all its forms anywhere in our country. Now, you could disagree with just about everything he stood for, or agreed with him for that matter, but in the spirit of Charlie Kirk, he came to debate. And he was proud to say so. He came to debate and to exercise his right to free speech, no matter how controversial. So we're here to help protect that right for all Americans through legislation to prevent the President of the United States from punishing people for constitutionally protected speech. Because the day that we stop fighting for our rights is the day that we lose them. And we're not going to go quietly. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Senator Murphy.
Thanks, Alex. Senator Booker.
This is how you protect your house and family from dangerous intruders.
This new subscription-free mini Wi-Fi camera delivers more advanced security features than traditional home security systems without the need for costly installations or monthly fees. It's making traditional home security cameras a thing of the past. Introducing Mini Wi-Fi Camera, a breakthrough security camera developed by Alex and Ben, former employees of a home security firm in Silicon Valley. Their innovation has turned the home security industry upside down, already saving homeowners thousands of dollars. As you might expect, the big security camera companies aren't too pleased about this. After years of working as technicians for a surveillance company in Silicon Valley, Alex and Ben realized that homeowners were in desperate need of a more advanced yet affordable security solution that didn't require subscriptions. They saw how outdated and overpriced traditional security cameras were, so they decided to take matters into their own hands. With years of technical know-how and a genuine desire to serve their community, they created a unique plug-and-play mini Wi-Fi camera that offers superior security and ease of use. When their former company offered $2.7 million for the rights to their invention, Alex and Ben turned it down. That's when they knew they had something truly game-changing. A group of investors joined their mission to make home security more affordable, and they perfected Mini Wi-Fi Camera for mass production. Mini Wi-Fi Camera is the most cost-effective way to enhance your home security. Unlike traditional home surveillance cameras that are fixed and offer limited coverage, this Mini Wi-Fi Camera provides outstanding security benefits.
My mom talks a lot about this memory she had as a little girl in Detroit, Michigan, where she would be woken up in the middle of the night to help a black family or black person take shelter in their basement apartment while they got them food and supplies to get them over to Canada. And when I was young and growing up and first started hearing these stories, I said, why did you need to help black families escape into Canada? And my mom and my grandparents would tell me that it was because in their southern communities, they said something to someone that offended some authority, some social moray, and they faced vicious reprisals. So much so they'd have to give up their jobs and their families and flee the government and those that they were enabling who would terrorize and target those people. And it was so bad that they felt the only safety for these people was to get them out of America. My grandparents witnessed the Red Scare and McCarthyism. They witnessed the targeting of artists like comedians that they loved, from Lenny Bruce, who was censored, to a whole generation of black comedians that were targeted for their jokes and what they said. My mom was an activist in the civil rights movement, and standing up and speaking truth could get you killed. From those who went out to register people to vote, like Goodman, Cheney, and Schwerner, to people like Fred Shuttlesworth that had their houses bombed and their families attacked for what they said, for speaking truth to power. I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of the fact that my grandparents, at a terrible time in our country's history, did actions of defiance, defense, and actions of democracy. I just want to tell everybody right now, we are in our dark and dangerous time in America. This is a dark and dangerous time. And it's a time that we do something about it, and it starts with speaking up. I would like to believe that my grandparents in heaven right now look at this legislation and are proud of it. But this legislation is not enough. All of us right now have to begin to believe, what are we doing in defense of one of the most fundamental constitutional principles? Some of us have sworn an oath to defend our Constitution. It is under assault right now. I am telling you, if we at the people, not just folks who agree on some partisan spectrum, but all Americans stand up in defense of the right to speak your truth as you see it, if we do that, if we respond to these assaults on the First Amendment by locking arms, we won't just defend democracy. We will do what my grandparents and parents' generations did, said, and sang. We shall overcome this dark time.
Thank you, Corey. Representative Sarah.
To protect churches and nonprofits, newspapers, magazines, colleges, workers, students from any president who tries to target his political opponents, shred our Constitution, and disgrace our values in the process. We are in the biggest free speech crisis this country has faced since the McCarthy era. The murder of Charlie Kirk was a horrific crime, and it's clear that Trump wants to hijack that horrific crime to silence anyone who disagrees with the president about any issue. While Mr. Kirk's tragic murder is new, Trump's desire to shut down all opposition is not. From the beginning of his administration, Trump has tried to go after anyone who dares question him. And as we saw last night, far too many billionaires and corporate-owned media companies are bending the knee.
If you live in a Florida zip code and have 0 DUIs in the last 5 years, listen carefully. I was an insurance agent for 30 years, and what I'm about to tell you could save you up to 40% on your auto insurance. Here's what the industry doesn't want you to know. Florida drivers pay the most for car insurance out of any state in the country. Insurance companies are now in trouble for overcharging Florida drivers by as much as 40% for the same coverage. We call drivers in this state gold tier clients, the ones we'd fight to keep because of inflated commissions. But here's the dirty secret. If you're in Florida, They won't let you know you can lower your rate now, and they're happy to keep overcharging you. My neighbor Jessica from Houston, perfect record, was paying $135 a month for 15 years. I told her, try out my new website. She found the same coverage for $95. Saved 30% after filling out the form through my official website.
After 30 years in insurance, here's the truth.
If you live in Florida and have 0 DUIs in the last 5 years, you're being overcharged. But they won't call you with a better rate. Why would they? You're already paying too much, and their shareholders love it. I'd quietly tell my favorite clients, be proactive. Go through my service and get what you deserve. When you click below, you'll reach my website where you just fill out an application. It takes about 5 minutes. It will ask for your zip code, about your vehicle, and some other information. Then it will show you what you qualify for. Florida drivers with 0 DUIs can save up to $600.
Disney and ABC, Paramount and CBS, the Washington Post editorial board, Facebook. Let's be clear. The ultra-wealthy men who run these companies are making a choice. David Ellison, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Bob Iger. These men are enriching themselves, auctioning off the United States' First Amendment to a wannabe tyrant. We have to ask ourselves that if Watergate happened today, would our biggest news outlets be allowed to run the story? Or would a billionaire owner decide that crossing the administration just isn't worth it for his bottom line? If you're watching at home, please know this is not just about the rights of a TV host or a big university. Trump and his billionaire buddies want to silence dissent so that they can run the country for their own benefit. First, it might have been they came after students and professors. Next, it's media companies and journalists. After that, it's churches and nonprofits. After that, it's you. It's all of us. Remember that Donald Trump did not turn against Jimmy Kimmel because of anything he said this week. He turned against Jimmy Kimmel when 8 years ago, Mr. Kimmel spoke up about stopping Trump, and Trump tried to take away the Affordable Care Act from millions of Americans. That's what's at stake in this moment. The ability of the American people to speak out against the billionaire takeover of our government and be heard. Thank you.
Representative Boulin.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Representative Crow, for bringing us all together today to show the American people that we stand shoulder to shoulder and in a large group and in a united way to protect our First Amendment rights. The Constitution is not a buffet. You don't get to pick and choose what you like and ignore the rest. The Constitution is absolute. It is binding, and it is our sworn duty to protect and defend it, all of it. We didn't use the tragic murders of Melissa and Mark Hortman to rip apart the Second Amendment in June. And we cannot and we should not use the murder of Charlie Kirk to rip apart the First Amendment in September. We must restrain ourselves collectively, all of us, from twisting tragedy into an excuse to punish our political enemies, to muzzle the press, to silence dissent, or to pressure schools and businesses and the military into purging voices that we might not like. That's not justice, and that's certainly not freedom. To be honest, that's tyranny. So I want to take a moment to speak to my colleagues in Congress. Yesterday was National Constitution Day, and Rep. Goodlander and I spent some time passing out hundreds of constitutions, copies of the Constitution, to our colleagues, reminding our colleagues that it is National Constitution Day and that we swore an oath, not to a party and not to a president, but to that Constitution, to that document, and to the people that we serve, even those who oppose us and even those who dislike us. And if we collectively keep smashing the foundations of this, our democracy, for short-term political gain, there won't be anything left for all of us to stand on. I know that a lot of people are out there actively cheering on this administration's attack on the liberal organizations, the strategy to silence and punish them. And that's your prerogative. That's your right. That's your freedom. Although I do think, as those before me have mentioned, that targeting or curtailing free speech is and always will be the wrong choice over the long run. And you will be on the wrong side of history for supporting this campaign. So to my colleagues, I implore you to stop now with the silencing, to stop now with the dividing, to please stop with the destruction, because the cost is far too high for all of us. Benjamin Franklin, a famous American, a famous Pennsylvanian, and a famous Philadelphian, wrote that freedom of speech is a principal pillar of a free government. When this support is taken away from us, the constitution of a free society is dissolved and tyranny is erected in its ruins. So for 250 years, we've held strong in the face of this tyranny, and we must, for the next 250 years, hold strong too, because we all know this American experience is worth the effort. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thanks, Kristen. Representative Frost.
Good afternoon. My name is Maxwell Alejandro Frost. I proudly represent my hometown of Central Florida here in the United States Congress. I want to thank Senator Chris Murphy and Congressman Jason Crow for their leadership on this important legislation to fight back against the Trump administration's attacks on the most fundamental freedom that we have as Americans, the freedom to speak, to dissent, and to criticize our government without fear. We should all be very fearful and scared of what we're seeing happening in this country right now. This administration is scaring people into silence, ridiculing reporters and blocking them from the White House, suing and extorting settlements from the media, threatening ABC over Kimmel, taking funding from nonprofits, intimidating businesses who cave to their demands. We need to be asking what will be left of this nation when the Trump administration is finished.
This viral showerhead boosts water pressure and cuts your water bill by 30%. This dermatologist from New York just discovered how to transform your skin and hair with a simple showerhead. And big water filter companies are furious. She created a device that purifies your shower water, making your skin softer and your hair shinier in just a few showers. Plus, it cuts your water bill by 30%. At this rate, everyone in America will have one of these by 2025. Dr. Emily Hart, a well-known dermatologist and mother of two, noticed something strange one morning. Even though she showered every day, she still felt dirty. Her skin was dry, her hair looked dull, and her shower was always moldy. However, a vacation in Switzerland brought a surprising change. In just 1 week, her skin started looking fantastic again, and her hair got shiny. When she got back to New York, Dr. Hart figured out.
And this isn't even about left versus right. It's not even about silencing certain political leaning. We've seen even right-wing news mainstream media outlets that are too scared to even question him at the most basic parts. This is about silencing criticism of Donald Trump, who believes that he's a king. Donald Trump doesn't want a democracy, he wants a throne, and his cronies are clearing the way. The president and his lapdogs here in the United States Congress, the vice president, the FCC chair, the attorney general, secretary of state, and congressional Republicans are implementing a dangerous agenda to punish their opposition. Fascism is not on the way, it is here. The First Amendment is how generations of Americans, from civil rights activists to labor organizers, American worker, LGBTQ+ activists, have fought for progress, and it is our power. And I say this as someone who has protested on the streets of my district, has been tear gas, mace, arrested, and jailed in the jail I now represent in Congress. So this is very personal to me. We cannot let the fear of speaking out become normal. We cannot allow truth-telling become a crime, and we cannot let them silence us. The NOPE Act is about strengthening the laws that protect the people from an administration that fears truth and fears democracy. An administration that wants to divide our nation, divide the working class, to distract from the fact that they're doing everything they can to enrich billionaires and to enrich mega corporations. That's exactly what happened with Jimmy Kimmel last night. The Oversight Committee will have more to say about this, what happened last night. But look no further than the fact that Sinclair is in the middle of an acquisition that the FCC has to approve. All of this ties back to money and people enriching themselves and bending the knee to Donald Trump to make it happen. This bill will give us another tool to fight back. And while congressional Republicans lie down and do nothing and enable this, Democrats will be advancing this bill, launching investigations, sending subpoenas to expose the ever-mounting corruption. When we don't have all the power we want, we use all the power we got, and that's what this bill is about. When we use every tool we have, especially our freedom of speech, to stand up to the onslaught against the American people, we can win, and I encourage my Republican colleagues to join us on this. Thank you.
Thanks. Maxwell, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Senator Murphy, it's not only just President Trump who's doing this, but a lot of your Republican colleagues in the House tried to censure Ilhan Omar last night. They're calling people's employers
to...
If you live in a Florida zip code and have 0 DUIs in the last 5 years,
Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from New Jersey.
I just want to first thank my colleague from California for stating it so plain about the character of the individual we're talking about. We have justifiable disagreements in this body. We have. Mr. President.
Sure.
I've seen something I haven't seen since I've been on the Judiciary Committee, which is a complete chorus of condemnation of a circuit court judge. We've had every single person express an interest in coming down here from the Democratic members of that committee to condemn us moving forward with such rapid pace on this nomination. Now, I would love to just leave it there, but there is something that makes it even more urgently necessary to focus, because as much as it might seem like this is a Democrat versus Republican, I'm very happy to see already some Republicans, not enough for us to stop this nomination, but this will be a bipartisan group of opponents, which is rare in this time of fierce partisanship, to see some Republicans looking at the evidence, looking at what Mr. Bovee has said, looking at what Mr. Bovee has done, looking at how he has insulted the very office that he hopes to hold of a judge's orders. People who are looking objectively at the facts are starting to see that this would be a terrible mistake in a bipartisan way. That gives me some hope that with the hours left on the clock, perhaps others too will take the time to understand one of two things. One, clearly, as I believe, and others, not just Democrats, but career prosecutors, career public defenders. We have seen judges. We have seen so many people come forward from both sides of the aisle to say, this is wrong. It would be wrong for the senators to do this. This is why we're starting to see some Republicans show more interest, and at least more than one come forward and say they will not support this nominee. It's because the facts are so glaringly clear that this is someone who has no respect for the rule of law. This is someone who's shown that no temperament to be a judge. This is someone who has been condemned for his lack of ethics, that has withheld exculpatory evidence as a prosecutor, has been given the worst Brady violation condemnation from a judge. There are so many things that are legion about this individual that on the face of it is why so many career professionals are coming forward to say that we should not be moving forward. But the second reason why people are having pause is because we are rushing this nomination before questions are answered. Too many people are moving too quickly on the other side of the aisle to get this done before questions are answered. Information is obtained from the record that this body, which is supposed to be deliberative, is supposed to advise and consent, should not be moving forward if they were to honor the obligations that we have. Let me give the multiple reasons why we are moving too quickly without information on substantive things that should raise alarms for all of my colleagues. We asked to hear the testimony of a whistleblower who came forward with tangible evidence, texts, and emails showing that Emil Bovee instructed the DOJ attorneys to ignore a court order if it impeded Trump's agenda. Bovee said, "F you to the courts." Republicans and the Senate Judiciary Committee refused to hold a hearing to meet with this whistleblower, not a Democrat, but a career prosecutor. Instead, we saw the vote being rammed through in the committee. Senator Kim and Senator Blumenthal and members on the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, which has oversight on the question of whether DHS violated a court order, asked the whistleblower to testify before them under oath.
This new scam is spreading rapidly in 2025 and emptying bank accounts in seconds.
You own a credit card? Please watch the next 30.
But the Comey FBI failed to review the evidence at the time After nearly a decade in the shadows, this information has now come to light thanks to Dr. Patel, or Director Patel. Senator Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Patel, during your confirmation hearing, you made several important commitments. For instance, you told Senator Coons there will be no politicization at the FBI. There'll be no retributive action.
But the Comey FBI.
You very specifically, Mr. Patel, during your confirmation hearing, you made several important commitments. For instance, you told Senator Coons there will be no politicization at the FBI. There'll be no retributive actions taken by any FBI should I be confirmed as FBI director. So let me ask you very specifically, did you ever take any action to terminate or discipline an FBI agent or employee in whole or in part as retribution for being part of an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
No.
You also committed, you assured Senator Blumenthal, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. So you're testifying today that you played no role in the firing of even a single FBI agent for political retribution.
None for political retribution.
And if any FBI agent said you did, they would be lying. Is that your testimony?
I'm only speaking to my actions. Everybody is allowed to make their allegations.
Oh, no, these are allegations against you.
And
so, Mr. Patel, if FBI, senior FBI agents or employees said that you were firing them for political retribution reasons because of the cases they were assigned, you're saying they would be lying. Is that
Anyone that
your
was terminated at the FBI was done so for failing to meet the standards, uphold their constitutional oath, and effectuate the mission.
Well, by meet the standards, are you talking about meet the standards of protecting the president under any circumstance?
No.
You also guaranteed Senator Blumenthal that every FBI employee will be held to the same, absolute same standard. No one will be terminated for case assignments. Are you testifying today that you never terminated anyone at the FBI, in whole or in part, because of a prior case assignment?
No one at the FBI is terminated for case assignments alone.
Well, I'm asking about you, Mr. Patel. Did you, in whole or in part, terminate anyone at the FBI because they worked on the Trump investigation or because they worked on January 6th?
No one at the FBI has been terminated for case assignments alone.
Okay, you're saying alone. Does that mean they were terminated in part because they were assigned to a January 6th case or assigned to the Mar-a-Lago case? You're being very precise here, Mr. Patel. You're saying alone. That means they were fired in part because they were assigned those cases. Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. But if you want to keep putting words in my mouth,
then
go
let me
ahead.
ask you, let's strip away the word alone. Did you terminate or participate in any discipline of any FBI employee in whole or in part because of their work on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th? Yes or no?
Any terminations at the FBI by employees.
No, I'm
since
asking you a very specific
And I'm
question.
going to answer the question, but you don't like the answer because it's the
No,
truth
I
and it guts
want
your
an answer to my
narrative.
This tiny muscle is the reason behind eye bags and crow's feet. Fix it by doing this for 5 minutes. My friends keep asking if I got an eye lift, because last month I looked like that. Now I look like this, but not from surgery, creams, or serums. It's this weird 5-minute hack that 127,000 women swear by, because it erases eye bags, dark circles, and crow's feet in just 21 days. I actually saw it on a video that went viral on TikTok. And after doing it every night before bed, my eyes finally look bright, smooth, and rested. If you want to get rid of eye bags too, you need to see this.
And if you struggle with puffy under eyes, droopy eyelids, or crow's feet, it's not because you're tired, your genetics, or anything else the skincare industry wants you to believe. The real problem is this tiny muscle right here. It's called the orbicularis oculi, and it's the muscle that holds all the skin around your eye in place. Think of it like a hammock holding up your under eye area. When you're young, it's firm and tight. But during menopause, this muscle shrinks and gets weaker, causing your eyes to sag, wrinkle, and look older, just like a hammock that's been used a lot over the years. No cream on earth can tighten this muscle. It's physically impossible. So I decided to do something about it, because there's a simple 3-step process that fixes it in 5 minutes a day. We need to lift and tone the support muscle that holds your eye area in place, which pulls the puffy, wrinkly skin tight and firm again. making your eyes look 10 years younger. And since no over-the-counter product can do all this, I partnered with a team of biomedical engineers to create a natural eye-lifting device using the latest medical technologies that were once only available in high-end clinics, and now you can use it from home in just 5 minutes a day. It's called Renua Eye Lift. This is the same treatment I give to all my patients to erase eye bags, wrinkles, and crow's feet without the giant price tag that comes with surgery. This device packs 4 of the most advanced technologies like EMS microcurrents to tone the support muscle around your eyes, so the surface of your skin looks smooth and even. NASA-developed red light therapy to replenish lost collagen and elastin, bringing firmness and bounce back to your skin. And sonic vibration therapy to make the eye muscles stronger, erasing dark circles and smoothing out those pesky eye bags for good. The best part? Renua Eye Lift is very easy to use. Simply press the power button and wear it like glasses for 5 minutes a day.
All right, so 2 weeks have passed and oh my gosh, look at that difference. Guys, I cannot make these results up. This is why I preach about red light therapy.
It penetrates your skin, accelerating new cell growth as well as thickening your skin. This is the only thing that has actually worked for me with 10 minutes of daily use after just 2 weeks.
That's just a few of the over 29,000 happy women who used Renua Eye Lift to achieve bright, youthful-looking eyes in 21 days. And that number is growing fast.
All right, Chair recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. The government of the District of Columbia, under the leadership sitting in front of us today, has become a poster child for DEI and gender. Reclaim my time, too,
You
Mr.
reclaim
Chairman.
it, absolutely. Ms.
This has
Mace.
led to government-sanctioned racial discrimination and the erasure of women. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 provides Congress plenary authority over the District of Columbia. Using this authority today, I'll be introducing the No DEI in D.C. Act. This bill will rip the DEI and gender bender nonsense out of the D.C. government root and branch and restore common sense and equal treatment under the law. As the individuals charged with writing D.C. laws, signing D.C. laws, and enforcing D.C.'s laws, we have some questions for you on the meanings of some of the curious terms we have found in the D.C. Code. My first question for Mayor Bowser, it's yes or no. The D.C. Code makes numerous references to, quote, structural or institutional racism. Do you believe the D.C. government is structurally or institutionally racist? Yes or no? Yes or no? Is D.C. government racist, institutionally racist? Yes or no? All right, you can't answer the question. So my next question for Mayor Bowser, since you're going to sit there and placate or just be quiet, in Section 7-1234.02 of D.C. Code, you use the phrase child welfare involved birthing people. Child welfare involved birthing people. Can you explain to me what this means?
I'm not that familiar with that part of the code.
Okay, and so you don't know. In Section 7-1234.02 of D.C. Code, you use the phrase justice involved incarcerated and homeless birthing people and their non-birthing partners. Can you explain to this committee what that means?
I would have to see
You
the whole
don't know.
section.
You're literally the mayor of D.C. and you don't know your own code of laws.
Well, I don't know
All right,
them
one thing we
verbatim.
noticed the D.C. Code struggles to define is the term woman. So Mayor Bowser, what is a woman?
I'm a woman. Are you a woman?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I'm a woman. You're looking at one.
Okay, good. You actually, in Section 3-703 of the D.C. Code, you use the phrase, the intersectionality of gender and race to create unique dynamics and effects. Can you explain what this means to the committee?
Where is that, ma'am?
Section 3-703 of the D.C. Code. Do you know what that means? No,
could
you
you give
don't
me
know
the
what that means.
title
So
of the-
Chapter 14D of the D.C. Code establishes
Mr.
the
Chairman,
commission.
I'm happy to answer questions.
Mr.
but
Chairman, I'm going to
can't-
reclaim my time. This is not her time, it's my time. You can be quiet as I ask you questions, and then you can
recognizes
answer them.
Ms.
And then
Mace.
you can
If
answer
you
them.
would give-
I'm not, Mr. Chairman, this is my time, not hers. I'd like to reclaim my time.
Let's make good use of the time, Ms.
Chair
Mace.
I'm making very good use of my
recognizes
time.
Ms.
There
Mace.
And you're
is-
making
Mace
my
has the
point.
floor.
You're the mayor of D.C., and you don't even know your own code of laws. What is a birthing person?
I would assume it's someone who gives birth.
All right. Why don't you use, are these women? Are these moms? Do you think it's appropriate to call him birthing person? Can a man birth a person?
Well,
Be a
that's
birthing
what
person?
I would call it, but I don't write all the laws, and I'm not familiar with every
Can
section.
men get pregnant?
No.
Can men become women?
Can a man become a woman?
Yeah. Can a man become a woman?
Miss
Yes
Mace,
or no? Can a man become a woman? Yes or no?
Miss Mace, I'm not
Okay,
here to
my
talk
next
about
question,
that.
Chapter 14D of the DC Code establishes the Commission on Reparations and a reparations fund to provide eligible African Americans monetary reparations or other forms of redress. Is it the position of DC government benefits should be provided to individuals on the basis of race?
I believe that the legislation would, or they would be out of business.
Yeah, of course. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you. Chair recognizes.
I am about to completely transform my house with the futuristic lighting system called Jellyfish Light.
Chair recognizes Mr. Crane from Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say thank you to the guests for showing up today. Since I only have 5 minutes, my first question is going to be a yes or no. Does DC have a crime problem, Mayor Bowser?
Any crime is too much crime, Mr. Crane, but we're trending in the right direction.
Sorry, just yes or no?
It's not a yes or no question.
Okay. Chairman Mendelson, does DC have a crime problem, yes or no?
There is more crime than we want, but it is significantly
All right, I'm moving
less.
on since you can't follow the instructions. Attorney General, does DC have a crime problem, yes or no?
One crime is one too many. We got to keep working at it.
Mr. Jackson?
One crime is one too many, I agree.
Thank you. Do you guys know where DC ranks amongst U.S. cities in crime, Mayor Bowser?
In what category?
Crime rates.
You would have to be more specific, and I don't
It's okay.
have a list
It's
of
okay.
other cities.
You guys
or
actually
states.
rank number 7.
Okay.
So you're in the top 10 of most violent cities in the United States, and this is, as other members have pointed out, our city's, our nation's capital. A lot of people come here. And Mayor, I know you, like many of my colleagues have already mentioned, you got a very tough job, and we all appreciate that.
It all depends on how you crunch the numbers.
Hold on a second. I didn't ask you a question.
News and World Report didn't place
Has
us in
crime
the
gone
top
down?
25.
Hey, hold on a second. I'm asking the questions here. Has crime gone down since the president deployed the National Guard and other federal agencies, Mayor Bowser?
I already mentioned, Congressman, the numbers during the federal surge.
So it has gone down?
It accelerated, yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mendelson, you said in criticism to the National Guard being present in D.C., you said that they looked bored. I'm going to ask you a question, sir. Would you rather have National Guardsmen standing posts around D.C. looking bored but driving down crime, or continue to be ranked in the top 10 in the country in violent crime?
Well,
with
as
no
I was
guardsmen?
trying to say, depending upon how you look at the data, we don't even place in the top 25. Now, in my testimony, I outlined
That's definitely not the
ways-
reporting that I've seen. You
Well,
guys are
US
ranked.
News
You
and
guys are
World
ranked number
Report.
7.
U.S.
You guys
News
are
and
ranked
World
number
Report,
7.
you can see that study.
All right, moving on. Councilman Mendelson, did you vote with the rest of the city council to defund the police by $15 million in 2020?
I don't believe that's the correct amount, but I did vote
Yeah, you
for the
did.
budget then.
You did. Okay, Councilman, did you call the police in July 2025 because of a protest outside of your home?
I called 911.
Okay.
It was at midnight. In fact, it was 12:30 in the morning.
Right.
And it was a
Okay.
number of individuals who were actually breaking the law, the Residential Tranquility Act, with how
Right.
loud they were.
Okay, so you voted to defund policing by $15 million in 2020 with the rest of the council. This is what the police union, police officers had to say about your interaction
I know what
with
you're
the
going to
police.
say, and I've already said
yeah,
to Mr. Pemberton.
well, I'm going to say it, so you're not going to interrupt me. Over the weekend, Chairman Mendelson called the police because there were peaceful protesters at his house, because he decimated the police department with horrible legislation, and our staffing has now 800-plus vacancies. There was a delay in responding to his home. Because of the delay, Chairman Mendelson called and screamed at OUC and MPD staff. There is now a permanent security detail at his home staffed by an MPD officer who should be handling more important matters. We currently have 3,100 total sworn members, the lowest in 50 years, and we now have to dedicate one of them to be a security blanket for a man who hates cops. while other people calling 911 for real emergencies will have to wait. This nonsense must end immediately. So that's what the police department had to say about you in
police
that
union,
incident.
not police
The
department,
Yeah,
sir.
the police union. The union that
I'm aware of
represents
that
police
statement,
officers.
and it's false on
Do they
numerous
represent
points.
police officers, Mr. Mendelson? The police union?
It's the union
Thank
president.
you. Okay, Attorney General Schwab, do you agree that all legal measures should be on the table to combat crime and lawlessness in the city?
I do.
Okay. Then why historically has the D.C. Attorney General declined to prosecute crimes? According to media reports, D.C. declined to prosecute crimes in 67% of arrests in 2023 under A.G. Graves. The D.C. quarterly clearance reports from your office show a similar trend in 2025 through Q1 and 2. You are only prosecuting 53% of gun-related homicides, 50% of sex abuse cases involving a knife, and 37% of non-fatal shootings. There is also an ongoing investigation into if the D.C. crime data was manipulated under Joe Biden so that historic level of crime didn't look as bad on paper. And I look forward to the outcome of this investigation. Now,
Mr. Crane, if I can
going
answer
back to your
can I answer your
initial
question?
answer, is that doing everything you can to protect this city?
The statistics that you just read are the statistics not from my office, but from the federal U.S. Attorney's Office. The prosecution rates from the Office of Attorney General have been in excess of 84% for violent crime over the last 2 years. So the statistics you rely on to malign my office don't come from my office. They come from the federal U.S. Attorney's Office.
So you're not you're prosecuting all of these crimes, is what you're saying?
Minutes over.
Okay, all right. Time's expired.
Watch what magnesium does to your bowels.
If you have to wipe more than 4 times after you poop, here's why.
The Mayo
As is Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mayor, thanks for being here. Thanks for being in the arena. We know it's difficult. I think the case that we're trying to make today is that there's a crime problem, and when you prioritize solutions, you can actually make a difference. And I'm just going to quantify that statement because I think that Washington, D.C. has a crime problem. Shouldn't just say that, but if it's true, it'd be evidence. And the House Budget Committee reported in early 2024 that crime surged by nearly 40% last year, which is 2023, with over 270 murders, 950 carjackings, and 106 children shot, reminiscent of the 1990s crack epidemic. And of course, you've heard the stories of staff members here. We all kind of, believe it or not, know somebody that has been a victim of crime right in the nation's capital, right? As of October 2023, the violent crime rate in D.C. hit 664.2 per 100,000 people. For comparison, New York City had a violent crime rate of 184.4 per 100,000 people. So that's dramatic, right? 184.4 versus 664.2 for D.C. Dramatic. In 2024 in Washington, D.C., 72% of all property crimes were larceny, theft, and motor vehicle theft, burglaries, et cetera. Washington, D.C. had 3,693 offenses per 100,000 people, which would rank it first among all states in terms of highest property crime rates per USA Facts, and that's if it were a state. So that's what I'm saying. I think D.C. does have a crime problem. And look, there's been a lot of complaining here, not necessarily by you, about what the president's actions are. The Guard being in D.C. In one case, they're claiming that they're policing D.C. In the next case, they're blowing the leaves away. It's one or the other. But
This is Mr. Gill from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding this hearing. And I'd also like to thank the witnesses for taking the time to be here today. I know y'all are busy, so really appreciate it. Mayor Bowser, thank you especially for coming here. You've been mayor for about 10 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. And during that time, would you describe D.C. as a safe city?
Yes.
You would?
Listen, Mr. Gill, and it was brought up earlier by the Congresswoman from
The murder
Detroit.
rate in Washington, D.C. is the 4th highest of any city in the country. Would you describe that as a safe city?
I have heard every statistic and factoid, and they're all different. about where
are you
our city.
disputing
No,
that Washington, D.C. is the 4th highest murder rate in the country?
I'm not familiar with that statistic.
You're not familiar with that
What I know,
statistic.
Mr.
This is your
Gill,
city.
Mr. Gill,
Respectfully,
excuse
this
me.
is your city.
I know that we have driven our murder rate down.
What was the homicide rate in 2014 before you were elected?
I don't know.
Do you know how much the homicide rate has changed during your tenure as mayor?
I do.
How much?
It has gone up.
It's gone up
and
by
it is
about
going
70%.
down.
It's gone up by about 70% from
I don't think that's
2014 to
correct. I don't think that's
2024. Those are
correct.
from the Metropolitan Police Department.
I
That
don't
is
think that
correct.
number is correct.
You should know the crime
Yeah, and
statistics for your own city,
I do know
especially
my
whenever
crime
it's this
statistics.
dangerous. Do you know how carjackings have trended during your time in office?
I know that they have gone down.
They're up over 500% since
Mm-hmm.
from 2014 to 2024. That's not a safe city. I don't think any person would call that a safe city. We'll move on. Do you agree that defunding the police makes our communities less safe, don't you?
This is what I want to say.
It's a straightforward question.
Yeah.
You're not
Well,
going to
this is my-
filibuster. Do you
this is my
think that
answer.
defunding the police
This is
makes our
my
communities
answer.
less safe?
What I know is that people have moved here. People have sent their kids here. People have started businesses here. We have record.
Does
we have
defunding the
record
police make our
visitation,
communities
and
more
so
or less
those
safe?
are the indications.
Does defunding the police
of
make
a
our
city
communities
where
more or less
people want
safe?
to live, work, and
You
visit.
won't even back your own police department right now. I'm asking you, does defunding the police make our communities more or less safe? And you won't give me a straight answer.
I've already answered that today.
And why don't you tell me again, do you think that defunding the police makes our communities more or less safe?
I've never defunded the police, nor would I.
So you think it makes our communities less safe, is that correct?
I just told you, I've never defunded the police, and I never would.
I understand that. You know, you may not have defunded the police, and that's a good thing, but you did provide a $125,000 grant to an organization lobbying to defund the police. Are you aware of that?
What is that you just raised?
It's an organization called HIPS that you provided just this year, fiscal year 2025. a $125,000 grant to.
I think we funded them to do public health work.
Quote, "It's time we shifted to a society free of police and systems of incarceration."
We fund them for public health work.
For public health?
Yes.
Does this make our communities more healthful?
We
By defunding our police?
fund them for public
Do you
health.
think defunding our police and lobbying to defund our police and undermine local
I've
law
answered that
enforcement
question.
makes our communities more safe?
I've answered
or
that
healthful?
question.
Do you think that providing tax dollars to an organization who wants to defund our police is good for the residents of Washington, D.C.?
We wouldn't fund them for that purpose.
Rising Jewish students,
they
and you
weren't.
allowed it to happen.
No,
I
they
yield my
weren't.
time back.
No, they weren't.
Watch how butter affects love handles.
The reason butter is called butter is...
Senator Booker. Yeah, we're good.
I cannot tell you how frustrated I am listening to the answers that you've given here that to me are utterly unacceptable.
120 days in the United States. So not pleasant for anyone, but we have.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me begin by expressing our heartfelt condolences, prayers, and sympathies to the families of the victims of the shooting that occurred earlier today at the ICE facility in Dallas. We're also very thankful and appreciative of the first responders who showed up on the scene, raced toward danger, and secured the situation to prevent any further carnage. The level of political violence and ideologically motivated violence across the spectrum is far too high in the United States of America right now. We need leadership that brings people together, not national leadership that tears people apart.